Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your part of the world. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to host the second podcast with Ploto Gaming, Beast Gaming, and Ladus Gaming. I'm going to throw their links up in the chat. If you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to their channels. I'm sure that they would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully my Nightbot has been activated. If not, we'll throw the links up there again shortly. But thank you for joining us. I know it's early where I'm at. It's 8 a.m. We have some hot topics to discuss today, including Osiris League Grand Finals, Sargon and Tariq, some controversial topics. We're each going to go through the best player or players that we have ever played with, our thoughts on what is the advantage to being in an Imperium kingdom versus a low seed kingdom, and then formations and armaments, and discuss the hot topic of the day of some kingdoms getting armaments before other kingdoms. So we'll see. Good morning, Mitch. It looks like we missed Ploto's link here. Good morning, Lemon. Good to see you guys. So that said, I'm going to bring in the guys here, and we'll get rolling.
Like as in, we're not in KVK. Fo is saying he maxed.
Okay. Sorry, Ladus, I heard you talking there. Welcome, Ladus, Ploto, and Beast. It is a pleasure to host you guys for the second podcast. Got a few viewers. I threw your links up in chat already, so others can go there and subscribe. How are you guys doing this morning?
Well, I can't say. I can't say it's morning, man. It's 1 a.m. Oh, actually, yeah, 1 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh, family's sleeping, so you kind of got to be quiet. We'll try not to.
I wish family was sleeping, man. Even my 2-year-old is for some reason awake. I don't know why.
Oh my lord! Thank you for the subscription. Mit, thank you, appreciate that. So, that said, we're going to get rolling here. We're going to start off with our first topic. It is Osiris League Grand Finals. Thoughts and predictions. As we all know, 60GT and 1V are squaring off again for yet another Grand Finals. Probably the two best Osiris League teams. And let's get some other people's takes on it. Ploto, what do you think?
Actually don't know. I mean, if we look at the previous bouts that they had between each other, it would be pretty 1v dominant, right? Even during the grand final or the Grand Prix, I think it was a 1v or a 1v second team or something, right? I don't know how they separated their teams, but a variant of 1v beats GT in the grand finals. I mean, in the Grand Prix, although there was a lot of controversy around that win with a bunch of lag problems and all that kind of stuff. We could also trace it back to last year where 1v1 the grand finals that year as well. So it's kind of tough to say, because I've been hearing a lot of stuff about 1v. I don't know what's true, what's not. I don't do my own, I don't know what exactly is happening. I heard some people from last year's team did migrate out. I heard, is it true that 1v's king retired or something? I heard something about that, but and since I know Fish and he said he's gonna snipe us if I ever slight 1960 in KVK, so I'm gonna go GT. Just because I guess I mean they've also had some people quit the game and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's GT. This is their redemption arc, I guess.
Good stuff. Beast, what are your thoughts?
Hard to say here who's going to be the better team. I think these two alliances are the two in the best in Osiris League. But Ploto said it already about 1v. I have heard it the same, that it seems like some people migrated out there. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I don't know if that's true. Then might be 60GT in favor. I don't know. But still hard to say. But I go here for 60GT. I have a better feeling this season with 60GT, and it seems like also a lot of other people thinking so too. If you have a look on the bets, and yeah.
Okay, Ladus. I know 60GT laid an ass whooping to your new kingdom, 2489.
Yeah, well, ass whooping kind of made me believe in 60GT even more, to be honest. So I watched that match, and then I gotta say, the 60GT was a bit more convincing than 1v. 1v, I guess. The reason why I'm a little less convinced about 1v this year is to do with how they're playing a bit more defensive. Like in terms of their play style, 1v to me was the team that could take every single middle fight every single time and confidently kind of win that. But then as we saw from the Osiris League, the normal league, the final couple of matches, 1v doesn't necessarily believe in themselves in winning the arc every time. 1021 isn't a big spender KD. I mean, not as big as 60GT, and I didn't feel like they handled 60GT. 1021 confidently. So I think 60GT will be a bigger challenge. I think, just like the Osiris League finals, maybe it could go 2-1 out of the 3 matches. But I put all my bets on 60GT, and I'm probably going to do that over the 3 matches.
No, makes perfect sense, and my thoughts are very similar, right? The matches I've watched with 1v this year, especially against top-tier teams, they've constantly been playing from behind. Now, is that strategy on their part so that they accumulate skill points quicker to fire off those skills in Ark of Osiris? I don't know. If it is, that's some higher level thinking that they're displaying then in their planning, right? But you know, if 60GT is not a team that you can lose that first arc and start right away from playing from behind with. So I agree with you guys. I think it's going to go 2-1 in favor of 60GT this year.
And with 60GT, even though we talked about how naturally from 60GT and 1020, I mean, 1v, there are players that kind of retired and all that. But then I have a feeling that has less of an effect on 60GT just because they have so many more in the backup. Say, for example, Arvix is a backup in the 60GT team. And Arvix has one of his, better accounts in 60GT. So, the backups the bench strength is much better for 60GT in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah. So, chat, do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Throw your comments in here. I'll throw a poll up real quick while we start on this next topic here, which is Sargon and Tariq. Is it worth it to max, both for high spender and low spender? Let's start with Beast this time.
I think personally, Sargon is not worth if he's not expertise. Because of the odd effect there, on the expertise, it gives you so many stacks, and there are just better commanders for free to play and low spender like Scipio or Guan. They have much more value, I guess. And I don't know, since I think he needs to be expertise. I mean, it's not something easy for free to play or low spender since it costs you 690 head, right? So I think it's not a good choice to go for if you are low or mid spender. If you are Wall or Kraken, and I think it's a good choice. I think he's a good commander for open field, especially the debuffs he do. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, good stuff. Ladus, I know you've probably got a dozen videos out on these two commanders already, but
no, actually, to be honest, on Tariq, I have no videos on Tariq. And that probably kind of, we'll talk about it more during the Tariq conversation. But for Sargon, I have been spinning Sargon pretty much all the way, and that's only in my main account where I am spending a little bit, and that's to do with taking 7 marches app. The way I look at it is whether we're talking about Tommy or Trajan or Sargon, any commanders that does buffs or debuffs or anything other than high damage, I think those should be people's 6th and 7th marches rather than the first 5. So people that are playing with 5 marches only, I think that's true. That for them, it's more important to get their kill points, and that's to do with you need to meet your kingdom requirements. As in, surely every kingdom has some sort of a requirement based on your power, how many kills you need to get in every KVK. I don't think those commanders directly help with the kill points. It exponentially helps with your kill points if you have 5 damaging marches. On top of that, you have a Sargon to debuff or a Tommy to debuff. So that's where I kind of stand. Like, unless you're taking 7 marches, just don't worry about these commanders, the support ones.
Sounds good. And I had to throw a whistle out there because TSN Cat woke up early and has joined us in chat this morning. She's usually not out of bed until 10 a.m. And our fearless R5 is here and present and watching. So be careful what you say. She'll send MF to zero your ass.
No, she knows my voice now.
Okay. Thanks, Ladus. In my opinion on Sargon and Tariq, I maxed Sargon after spinning the wheel the first 3 days. I've been using him as a 7th march. Sargon followed by CJ. I don't have the greatest of gear on him. He is slow as molasses on the open field, so I've got some windswept on him just to get him in the fight. Trades with CJ are fairly even with this crappy gear. When I put better gear on him, if I use the gear that I'm using on, where are we? Where are you? My Richard Canyon Zenobia Garrison gear. If I put this gear on him, he's really, really slow. And he doesn't even get to the fight until my other 6 marches are dead. So it's kind of I really got to micromanage him when I am using him. So it's kind of hit and miss for me. The reports are really good when I use my better gear on him. But again, he's getting to the fight after my other 6 marches are there, and how much benefit is he really providing me? I don't think he's worth it for a low spender. If you're a high spender or a whale in your kingdom and you have those heads, definitely a good investment to expertise him. Tariq, we have done some devastating damage with Tariq and seen some devastating damage with Tariq and Pakal rallies. They are a bitch to swarm down. Tariq on the open field, haven't had much experience with him on the open field. MF obviously has every commander maxed in the game, and he was just playing around. We were doing some Sargon CJ rallies, some Tariq Sargon rallies, some Sargon Tariq rallies. Obviously with MF's gear and us swarming almost everything, the results are very favorable, but the rallies looked good themselves as well. So I think we finally have a viable rally combo in either Sargon Tariq or Tariq Pakal or Sargon CJ to throw at structures, and it's definitely 100 times better than Pakal Herald in my opinion, especially if you have the field. Your thought?
Question for you, man. When you are doing the Tariq rallies, which garrison was doing the best against them?
Manitory and Artie.
Yeah, so that pair is definitely back alive then.
It's back alive, especially if you're getting rallied with those new infantry commanders.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
good to know.
That said, it was my Amanitory and my Artemisma, and the gear I have when I'm garrisoning is fully procced, all legendary. Well, the ring's not procced. Fully procced, legendary. Everything's iconic. So
it's all bling bling.
Yeah, it's all decked out. So
It's too shiny.
maybe that has something to do with it too. But I think definitely that was doing better than the standard Zeno Flavius or Flavius Scipio or what's the other common one? Zeno YSS, right?
Does Zeno Flavius even hold on par or not even?
I don't think so. Again, it's hard for me to judge because we swarm absolutely everything. We're not a kingdom that sends one rally. Oh, cancel the rally. We're getting bad trades. Send another rally. As soon as whatever we're attacking is yellow, MF is swarming. Everyone else is swarming. We don't care about deads. We just want that on fire.
Everything is a positive trade that way.
Exactly. And we have fun. Ploto?
True.
Sargon and Tariq?
I thought you forgot about me. Yeah, I'm just hearing all this stuff about Sargon this, Sargon whale, Sargon. I'm like, damn, I just maxed this guy like a couple days ago. I had this whole discussion with Psych Out from 1254 about who I should max between Sargon or Honda, because I was trying to look for a second Inf March. You said Honda is better in terms of I guess flexibility and all that kind of stuff. But if you want clickbait, go for Sargon. So I'm like, all right, let me go for Sargon then. I maxed him, didn't get to use him, so I'm hearing all this like he walks really slow and all that stuff. So I'm kind of nervous, but to be honest, I wasn't really able to formulate an opinion because during the holidays I was like so busy. And like I feel like they released the commanders on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day for some people, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I've definitely seen a lot of Tariq rallies in our current KVK. It seems to be doing pretty well. It's one of those rallies where Tariq Pakal, it's like I feel like it's the Attila Nevsky of infantry, where it does a decent amount of damage, but it also is really hard to swarm. So if you don't have 100% field control, or if they do have, whenever there's a flag and then there's there's always these max tech 7 March whales, even if they might not have the field, as soon as you set that rally out, they're gonna just bring out all 7 of their marches, all 3 of them. So there's gonna be like 21 marches swarming down that one rally, even though they didn't have the open fields, and it's like really hard to take care of. I feel like Tariq Pakal kind of mitigates that situation. And it's nice for infantry to have a relevant rally for once. Like people were saying, like, oh, people might say like Pakal Herald, but Pakal Herald was literally just a sponge to get damage, or like a sponge for damage. It was really rare you'd find a Pakal Herald actually burn anything. I feel like that would be like the Attila Takeda of infantry, and then the Tariq Pakal is kind of like the Attila Nevsky in that way, where it actually does damage, but it also like can work as a tank rally as well. So yeah, I feel like the addition of it isn't really that game changing in the open field. As you guys are saying, it's like for whales and all that kind of stuff. From what I've seen so far, like if you look at all the open field marches currently in my KVK, which I'm gonna use as an example because that's like what I'm engulfed in right now, you barely see any Sargon, and I don't think I've even seen Tariq in the open field. So it's just like when, for example, CPO came out, you saw a ton of CPOs out in the open field. Like that's practically all you would see. Same thing with Nevsky. Boudica was to a lesser extent. Like there were a lot there. You could at least see Boudica in the open field, but it wasn't like mass adopted like the other Nevsky and CPO. But for this one, it's like I haven't even seen any of them. So that's kind of my take from between what's it, Sargon and Tariq. It's kind of just like the rock paper scissors of Rise of Kingdoms. It gave the rock of infantry a way to attack the scissors of of archery, I guess. Or no, wait. Yeah. Whatever.
You said it right, man.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And one of the viewers in chat said it's risky to put archers as garrison and structures, because then they'll just change to XY Nevsky and rally and wreck it. So I agree. At this point in time, I think the game has evolved to a point where there is a garrison to counter every single rally and a rally to counter every single garrison. The hard part is communicating at an alliance level, at a coalition level. hey, we need everybody to pull all their troops out of here and refill it with archers now. Or they're sending XY Nevsky at it, or Nevsky Attila at it. We need you to pull all your archers out, and we now need to fill it with infantry. You know, it's that higher level thinking and that higher level gameplay, communication, coordination that is going to set some kingdoms apart from others. Hey, Smoke Turkey. Who is this Ploto guy? He sounds so handsome. Ooh, Ploto, you have a secret admirer here.
I didn't respond to that.
Any further comments on Sargon and Tariq, guys?
No.
Okay.
Well, basically, unless you're a rally leader, it's not mandatory. I think that's what we're kind of summarizing.
Yep.
Oh, I have a question. Like you said, you swarm a lot. How does Sargon in swarms? Because I feel like that from his odd stacks and then the extra skill damage procs from getting 10 odd, is it like super good to swarm with Sargon, like multiple Sargons, or like have you guys seen that before? Because yeah, I haven't seen anything like that yet.
I'm not one to sit and overanalyze reports. I know everything we swarm, the structure burns. I was trying.
There you go.
I was trying to remember when we were swarming in KVK not to swarm John Ziska with Sargon because he counters the Sargon skills. But you know, when you're in the heat of battle and MF says, "Okay, it's yellow, we're swarming," you just target the thing and you go for it, right?
Yeah, fair.
I think, Ploto, if you're swarming with multiple Sargons, then the stacks get put on faster, yes. But then in terms of the 1000 damage in question, once the first Sargon does the 1000, the debuff gets removed and the other Sargons doesn't do the 1000 damage. So basically you just stack fast, that's all. So it's not as potent as we would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been cool if it was like, you know, there's 12 Sargons swarming a flag and then it's just like 12k damage back there.
No, it doesn't do that.
And that's Ladus, everyone, with the higher level college calculus thinking. So
you see things from a different perspective in Australia and a different.
Yeah, from down under. Yeah, I see it bottom up.
Yeah.
So the next on our agenda is I wanted everyone to kind of briefly discuss the best player that you personally have ever played with. Not the best player you've ever seen playing, you know, from a different kingdom, but the best player you've ever played with in your alliance, in your kingdom, or maybe fought against in a KVK. I'll start this one out because I think you all know exactly who I'm going to say, you know, and that's TSNMF. With over 30 billion kill points and 223 million deads. Obviously, he's a fighter. Not only is he a fighter, though, you know, he is the most selfless man I've ever met. He gives other people in the Alliance and in the Kingdom a chance to get the top placements in MGE. He truly understands that he cannot win a KVK alone, that he needs good people around him with good commanders around him. And he often, well, I mean, now that he's got every single commander maxed, including Lubu and Montezuma, the crazy bastard. You know, he, even in the past, though, he was like, no, I don't need this. You guys take first, you guys take second, you guys take third. Just his resources given is in the 200 billion range as well. So, you know, hands down, MF is by far the best player I've ever played with. And he's not like most whales where they log on, they fight. He grinds. I mean, if you look at this man's honor ranking, he is grinding barbarians on a daily basis as well. You know, he doesn't chain them, Ploto, sorry, but he will 7 march barbarians for hours and hours on end, and he's in first place in the honor roll, you know, so.
Yeah, just making sure, man, this is nothing to do with if you save someone else, you get zeroed or anything like that, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's not like that. He's not like that. When I was talking to the Alliance yesterday about some of the topics today, I was, you know, mentioning the best player you've ever played with, and the first thing out of Cat's mouth was, "Oh, so I need to be on stream tomorrow to accept your praise." So,
I'm gonna add a line about even though he's not my guy, I'm gonna add a line about him, which is like when I started off the YouTube channel, I was trying to talk to random people, famous players here and there, just to see whether, not that I knew them, but just to see whether we can do a video about their account or something like that, or having a high profile person come on your stream. Obviously that helps and all that. So most of the people that I messaged didn't reply. There's only a few that kind of replied because I had 100 views on a video or something, just the first few. MF was actually one of the guys that replied. He didn't participate, but he replied. And that meant a lot. Like, just because he's a whale, he doesn't think he's, above everyone else, doesn't need to respond to people's messages and all that. He did, which was very nice of him.
Very down to earth for a man of his wealth, I guess, is for lack of a better term.
You're making me feel bad now for all of the messages I can't reply to. I just look at my DMs now. I'm like,
bad Ploto.
So, Ploto, you want to go next?
Oh yeah, I guess I could go. The best player I've ever played with. I'm not an older player like you, and I don't know how long Ladus has been playing, but I'm guessing it's been a while as well. Like, I haven't been playing for that long. So my pool is a bit less because Lambo, you've been in a bunch of different alliances. You've been in you've won Osiris League, so you've been in the top of the top. I feel like we are just getting into that, as 2268 is the first Imperium KD I've ever played in, but it's pretty nice being in. We'll talk about this later, but anyways, I guess the best player that I've played with is Peacemaker. Just in terms of a gameplay standpoint, and even as a person, he's really, really nice. I don't know if this is true, but I was told that he gained the most amount of KP in a single KVK ever, last KVK, with 9.5 billion KP gained. Is that true? I don't know if anyone gained more than that, but he literally is really I feel like all of the people are gonna reference. He's such a nice guy. I greeted him happy birthday, and he's like, "Where's your city? I want to give you resources." I'm like, "Bro, you don't need to give me resources because I said happy birthday to you." He's a really, really nice guy, really down to earth. Every single time, he doesn't want any attention either. Like, I asked him if he wants to do an interview, a couple months ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I just play the game just for fun. I don't want any of the attention. I just play it for fun, to talk to people, all that kind of stuff." So he's doesn't want any attention. Like Lambo said, he's not he could win every MGE if he wants to, right? But he's 100%, he 100% supports the rigged MG format, all that kind of stuff. So Peacemaker is probably the best player I've personally played with. So yeah.
Yeah, 9 billion in one KVK is absolutely crazy. What about you, Beast?
I have two guys. It's first of all Lazy, one of the kings from 2038, and Nerf. These two people have helped me a lot. In game, helped me out with understanding the game better, like with Xenoconquest and all that stuff. And they was always willing to help me when I have questions. And they're really kind. And from so far, I think these two are the best I have played with ever in the game. Of course, there are other people, but yeah, I guess these two.
Okay. I don't know either of those players, but I will definitely write their names down and pay attention to them in the future.
Oh yeah, they are not like heavy wards or heavy fighters like Peacemaker or MF, but they got already the king got already a little bit attention now with the last KVKs, and more people find out 2048. So I think in the future you will probably heard something about them. But yeah.
So they are up and coming and on the rise.
Yeah, we're on the rise, yeah.
Outstanding. How about you, Ladus?
Hey man. So 1,388 days played with multiple accounts. Have kind of played through quite a few different kingdoms. So I'm probably going to do my honorable mentions first, starting with a couple of retired players. And you guys would obviously know all of them. The first one is DS, Death Squad. So I played with him 1 KVK. He was one of the best leaders that I played with. So he retired. Obviously, his account went to Bunny. Bunny's second account is actually the DS account. At that stage, he obviously had very high kills and all that. And the other one is Goodfather. So 1556, when I went there, I actually went only because of Goodfather. It wasn't because of Baba, wasn't because of Foe. But then I actually went for him. But then I didn't manage to play a KVK with him. I did play KVKs as allies to him, being in other kingdoms, and he's one of those guys that was available to do the imprisons on our area, as in, like, his kingdom wasn't fighting, but then we were fighting. We used our imprison. Every time we messaged him, somehow he was online. So it's not like for a big player using pilots or anything. He was physically online himself, playing his account all the time himself, just like how you mentioned about MF. So that being said, the actual player that I want to mention as the best player that I played with has to be Foe. I mean, I went to a kingdom now 2489 just because of Foe. It's to do with how he fights, how he leads, and how he contributes in many different ways. Some of it I can't kind of say on stream, because then Lilith will probably ban few accounts. But let's just say that he helps in many different ways. That may be Lilith approved, may not be Lilith approved, but either way. And he's online pretty much 24/7. I don't know how. Like during KVK, I don't know how he does it. And I took the headache of being in a whale kingdom where my spending abilities are a lot less than the kingdom requirements, but then I'm choosing to up my spending level just so that I can keep playing with Foe.
Yeah,
So that's the guy.
Yep. Much like you were commenting about MF, Foe is an outstanding human being as well. Every time I've ever asked him a question or sent him a message, or when he was live streaming, jumped on his live stream, he's always taken the time out of his day to answer my question or acknowledge my presence, or whatever the case may be. He doesn't think he's bigger or better than the rest just because he has higher power or higher kills. He's a great human being as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're playing a game together, and as long as we feel like we're playing with friends, not like dictators that think they're beyond us, I guess we're happy.
Okay. I did put a poll up in the chat already for our next topic of discussion, and it is Imperium Kingdom versus Low CD Kingdom. What are your thoughts on the advantages and disadvantages playing in each? We'll start out right away with Ladus on this one.
Man, so I haven't played in a non-Imperium in a while. Saying that, if I had the choice, and when I say I had the choice, if my friends were playing in a non-Imperium KD, just like how you have your setup, I guess, Lambu, I would have chosen that. But all my friends either play in 1365 or are in 2489 at the moment. So the reason why I kind of don't want to do it, but still playing with friends in an Imperium, I mean, the negatives out of this is, firstly, the lag. So the lag is unbearable when you have big Imperium KVKs going on. Secondly, there's always this spending pressure. Not that I wouldn't spend normally, but then now it doesn't feel like I have a choice. So it feels mandatory, but I rather spend when I choose to. So I don't want that peer pressure, which I have when I'm playing in Imperium KD. Then there's that topic of, I guess, having access to commanders, being part of the ARC team. Again, luckily, I am part of like the Osiris League team and still kind of part of the MG cycle. But then I think if I wasn't doing YouTube content, I would definitely choose to play as a game in a more relaxed way, in a low seed kingdom that doesn't win KVK often. Like once a year, if they win KVK as an ally, I would have been happy with it. It's more of a better gaming experience rather than joining like a military state where you have to stay online 3 a.m. at night and fight. Like that life isn't just for me. But then I obviously do it so that we can keep our viewers entertained.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Myself, I have been in Imperium Kingdoms 1039 with White Tigers at the height of their power. That was the Kingdom of Solomar. Moved to 1052 with OV, not to be confused with 1V, 1052 and OV, Season 1 and Season 3 Osiris League champions. And after I met these guys in 1029, I came here, obviously a D seed kingdom. There are advantages to being in an Imperium Kingdom. You have hundreds of people online at once. You don't feel that, at least I didn't feel that pressure to stay up for 24 to 36 straight hours fighting the entire time, because there are always other people there. Versus a D Kingdom where we have, maybe 10 to 15 people max online at once. You kind of sometimes feel that pressure to be online for 24 straight hours or 36 straight hours. Especially if you're a rally leader, a garrison captain. That said, I enjoy being a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big pond, and feel like I can make a bigger difference here in a low seed kingdom than I ever would in a very high seed kingdom. That, and there is no lag. I watch some of these Imperium KVKs and see content creators constantly getting frustrated by clicking on a march and clicking on a march and clicking on a march, having it warp halfway across the screen, or the march not being there, or their troops marching home for 5 seconds before it turns around and goes to their target. That's something I never want to experience. I enjoy playing in a low seed kingdom because of that. And I think the thing that I find most enjoyable is playing with a small group of people where I know they got my back and I got their back. I'm not going to leave them hanging and just jump offline and say, fuck off, my hospitals are full, I'm logging off for the day. They know that I will be there through thick and thin, and that they can pick up the phone and call me. I mean, literally call me at any time and say, hey, dude, we need you online now. And I can do the same with them. And it's more of a family environment than it is, 200 people on voice where you don't know somebody's voice and can't name the person that's talking. So my thoughts, I will never leave 1029 unless these guys do, and hopefully that never happens, because I am enjoying the game again. And now that I'm streaming too, I have a very small community. Hopefully it's growing. Click that like and subscribe button. Some shameless self-promotion in here real quick. I do this as a hobby. And it's helped me enjoy the game a little bit more than I was in the past. And I look forward to producing more content, hanging out with you guys, the three of you as well, doing this on a bi-weekly or once a month basis, whatever the case is. But the reason I enjoy this game is because of the people I play with in 1029. And before I start crying and get emotional, we'll go next. We'll go next to Ploto.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on the context, right? Like, for me, the game really is about the people you play with. So if you have friends in DC Kingdom, C seed, B seed, A seed, you go wherever they are, because that's that's where the fun is. Because it really is a multiplayer, like massively multiplayer type of game, meaning that like if this game was single player, I doubt any of us would play it, right? So who you play with, the structure of the KD you're in, and all that kind of stuff really dictates your experience. So I know there are like Lambo's D seed is probably like ideal because it's like super organized, you all know each other. But then there's some D seeds that are literally just D seeds because they're like inactive, right? Like their leadership comes in like once every couple of days. It's like unresponsive. I think it really depends on the KD. Overall, I would say for me personally, like right now as a content creator, I feel like being in an Imperium is really advantageous just because people like watching those Imperium fights. Whenever I would stream on a like B seed KD, the viewership would be a lot less than say like my main KD, which would be like 1254, 1834, 1664, all in like one big Imperium map, which is like a lot, I guess, more of a digestible wanted product. And also like one thing that I like about being in an Imperium is I honestly I don't really feel like I lag too much, but maybe that's just me. I like during the first hour of pass opening is really bad, and then after that's pretty bearable. But I feel like for me it's just being able to meet everyone, right? Like I wouldn't have met Redline, I wouldn't have met Chiss, I wouldn't have met like Jake, I would have met a lot of people that I currently talk to. And those are just the content creators. Like I've met other people as well. I wouldn't have met a lot of my audience if I didn't face them in KVK. So that's like a really big thing, is that when you're in an Imperium, you fight against other people that take the game really seriously. You get to bond over that, and like they get to respect you, or you get to respect them, and that's like a beautiful thing. When I don't know how it works in a D seed, I'm sure it's very similar, but it's just that the people in Imperiums tend to be more high profile. So I guess that's pretty cool. Like I compare it to like Chisco is kind of like the pro player of Rise of Kingdoms player, right? He literally does it as a career. Like if I were to play a different game, like if I were to play League of Legends, if I were to play Valorant or something, you wouldn't see like tens in my lobby, or I don't know who's good at League, Faker in my lobby. He's from a different country, but still, you know, you wouldn't see those people in my lobby at all. Like I would never even interact with them. It's like a whole different world, whole different game. But then one cool thing about Rise of Kingdoms is that you could play with whoever, whenever, as long as you're in the same seed, which is, you know, like like I have a picture with my Mars next to Chisco. So that's cool. Yeah, I guess it's just like for me it's all about I'm a pretty competitive guy, and I like being in the top of things. So like if I play a game and if I play it in like a lower difficulty than, let's say, the highest difficulty, then I feel like I'm kind of like not challenging myself enough. So it's just all about, for me, like, you know, I'm a grinder, so like I chain all the time, I'm online all the time, so maybe that's why for me I feel like Imperiums are pretty fun to be part of, and it just feels like you're part of something that sculpts the Rise of Kingdoms community. Like that KVK was like super fun, everyone was talking about it. I'm like, you know, 3v5, whatever. But then like if you're in some random D or C seed, there isn't really that much talk. And one thing I really don't like about C or D seeds is I mean, and my KVK right now, because I'm currently in a strife, they put every single kingdom that registered for it just in a map together. So we literally have Imperiums A, B's, C's, and D's. One thing that I don't like is just the amount of KDs that you might have to be in camps with, and like all that drama that might happen, and then it feels like you're neglected by Lilith in a way. Because they literally, I feel like, Lambo, you could speak to me on this. Like, does it feel like whenever you sign up for KVK, they just put everyone that's near your seed and put in a map and say like good luck? Like, yep. I mean, that's matchmaking in general, but then I feel like it's even worse for like C and D seeds, right? Like,
no, as in, like, how do you keep account of who is the enemy, who is the ally? Like, when you go out, it's like everyone has a different tag. Who do you hit?
That's what I'm saying.
I can honestly say I've hit multiple allies this KVK in error.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like tough to, I guess, keep track. Even this KVK, we had like when your camp has a ... next to how many, like, you know, whenever you're out on the map or whatever, and then it shows all the kingdom numbers. I look at Lambo's KD, like 1029. All I see is like 1029 ... And I'm like, yeah, there's way too many KDs inside of that camp. So
But then, Ploto, you know how you said you care about the people you play with and all that? I think the word on the street is you like barbs more than you like people. Is that true?
Hey, I chain barbs for that value, you know, but
I heard that you just spending time with them. Like Calvin is your best friend or something.
oh yeah, Kelvin, yeah, that's my guy. Lohar is my dude. No.
So before we flip to Beast on this topic, I just want to point out, and chat heard it as well. One, Ploto says he likes it on top, and two, he likes grinding. So if there's any, I know you got a girlfriend, but if there's any single women out there looking for a younger man, he likes it on top and he likes grinding, ladies. Okay. So
Grandma on the channel as well. I mean, on the chat as well. I'm not reading it out, but maybe Ploto can.
all right. Sorry, Beast. Your turn, my friend.
Okay, so personally, I like to be in the Imperium Kingdom. I like the action. I like the fact that you get to know a lot of new people with every migration, and it's such like a big community in that kingdom compared to low seed. I was one time in a B seed kingdom. I don't know, it feels more they're like a family, like that you are closer together because you have less people. But then also you have less people on the field, and I don't know, if I compare that, I would rather be in the Imperium Kingdom. I think the problem a lot of people have in Imperium Kingdom is the lags, right? The lags is one of the biggest issues in the Imperium Kingdom. A lot of people saying that, and especially at the pass openings, you can see that. But like it all got already said, after some hours, the lags gonna turn down, and then you can play the fight, but you still see the lags, you still can lose the connection, and that frustrates, right? What else? I think the problem also with Imperium Kingdoms is that you have so many wards and Krakens in there, so low spender or free-to-play player have a hard time to get their events rankings, like, you know, the Gold Heads events. Like you always see there the top power player on the top. So I think a lot of low spender and free to play wafer to be in like B seed or C seed instead of Imperium. Also, if they would want to play an Imperium, yeah. What else? Yeah, a lot of the stuff got already said from Ladus and Ploto. So yeah, that's it.
Good stuff, guys. The poll in the chat, I'm going to end it now. 58% of the viewers said that they would like rather play in an Imperium Kingdom than a low seed. So one viewer comments, hello everyone, it will be fun. I just hope more fighters in the field for the sake of equipment. I know my circumstances getting better. Message to, I think that means Ladus, good fighter. So good stuff. The next topic is one of the more controversial topics that I have seen on both Discord and in Facebook recently. And that is the decision from Lilith to release formations and armaments to some SOC kingdoms, Season of Conquest kingdoms, but not all of the kingdoms. Do you guys think that's fair? Will that give an unfair advantage to certain kingdoms over others in coming KVKs? What's your opinion on that? And I'm sorry, we'll start out with Beast this time.
Okay, I think that's very unfair. That will, I mean, like you have a matchmaking, right? Where you put in kingdoms together who are in the same seed. I don't know how they want to handle that in the matchmaking then. If they release formations and armaments in some specific kingdoms. instead of in all kingdoms. I think that will destroy the matchmaking. And since like it's also a competitive game, like with Osiris League, with the KVKs, you know, like we have a esports scene, a little esports scene in the game. That will just have an impact on that, in my opinion. And I don't know, it's just unfair because, like, especially for the free-to-play and low spender in the other kingdoms, they will be more behind when they would be when it would come out in all the kingdoms, right? Like the Wars and the Krakens will have everything like after some weeks or after some days, and for free-to-play and low spender, it will be again a grind to get all the stuff from that. And now you're also making the decision to bring it out just in some specific kingdoms. It's like a punch in the face for all the other free-to-play and low spender in the other kingdoms, in my opinion. And I think we already saw from the community that they don't like it and that they really should remove that decision and make it fair and bring it out to all the kingdom at the same time.
Yeah, and I'll jump in here next. If disclaimer: if you have children in the room, please put their earmuffs on or send them out of the room because they may learn some new words here very shortly. Yeah, it's not just, in my opinion, it's not just a punch in the face. It's a kick in the ass, and no lubricant is being used when they stick it in and twist it. For some kingdoms to get armaments before other kingdoms, and though all of those kingdoms have potential to meet up in a future KVK, it's going to put some players ahead of others, especially players that are spending money to get those armaments to max the structures immediately. It's going to give free-to-play players in one kingdom an advantage over free-to-play players in another kingdom. It's not right. It's not fair. It should never have been done. I was cautiously optimistic about formations and armaments to begin with. I felt like it would be too much micromanaging and it would scare away the new players. Well, now we're not potentially just scaring away new players with all this micromanaging of formations and armaments and inscriptions, but we are also telling older players like myself who have been here for 1,400 plus days, hey, fuck you, we're going to give kingdoms like 254, we're going to give Chisgo, we're going to give some of these players an advantage by giving them this new stuff first. Obviously, to get some of these armaments, it's all random. You're going to generate these armaments or do whatever you got to do to get them, and it's random. But the more times you can get that randomness to go off, the more potential you're going to get for the good stuff. And when some kingdoms don't have the same opportunity, it's going to come back to bite them in the ass in the long run. This whole rollout really sours my taste in the game and sours my taste for Lilith and Lego themselves, and it could have been done much better and should have been done much better, especially for such a big update that's impacting every single player in the game. So that is that. I didn't drop as many F-bombs as I thought I would, but Ploto, you're up next.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to put this in a different perspective, I mean, one, yes, it is really unfair how they did it. Even with KVK 2 Kingdoms, like, I'm not exactly sure why they didn't just release them. Because I don't know if you know about the KVK 2 debacle, about how they actually nerfed armaments the way that it initially released. So now the stats are a lot less. You get a lot less inscriptions and stuff. But all the KVK 2 Kingdoms that actually had the armaments previously, they still get to keep their armaments and keep the stats and all that kind of stuff. So they have like these cracked version of these armaments that might give X and Y amount of percentages more than armaments initially in the game that are available in the game. So then they have these like limited time armaments and inscriptions and all that kind of stuff. They're making their accounts like have a really crazy head start, which is what I've been told. And then some people were like, yeah, what if some people migrated back from SOC? They have all the commanders, all the gear, and then all of a sudden now they have these cracked armaments that had given a percentage amount of stats and not even available in the game anymore. It's really like, because people always talk about when you're a whale and when you're a garrison lead, rally lead, you always talk about the max amount of stats you can get. Those players now have a certain max that can't be obtainable by others just due to the fact that they got armaments sooner. So it's like really, really unfair because they had this early version of armaments that are not available, all that kind of stuff. But I won't speak too much about it because I'm not in KVK2, so I don't actually know the differences between their armaments and the armaments that came out. But one thing I want to bring up is some people start jumper accounts, literally jumper accounts, so that they could get a hard head start in the game, right? Like they start a jumper account so that they could have a couple of days extra to gather speed ups, gather materials. Essentially, Lilith is giving these kingdoms in SOC, the same jump start that jumper accounts do, for I guess newer KDs, right? Because it's like they have all these extra days to level up their state forum. And one thing that we didn't even mention is there's currently more than gems right now, and you need gems to level up your state forum. So literally, they could use more than gems right now to gem out their sages' testimonies and get even more of a head start. Because when we get armaments, formations, and all that kind of stuff, there's not going to be more than gems that next weekend, which is when people are saying armaments are going to come out for the rest of the KDs. So it's just like a really, really tricky and bad situation Lilith put all of us in, because now all of these guys have this more than gems. They also have these extra days to get these dispatches out, to do all their quests. So it's, it's like they have an extra jumper, an extra boost on top of what they like above everything else, which is really bad for the competitive integrity of the game, in my opinion. Because the kingdoms that are most mad about 1254 getting the armaments and stuff are the kingdoms that want to verse 1254, 1365 I heard was pretty mad, and then I'm sure 1960 is pretty salty about it too. It's just if you have early access to anything in Rise of Kingdoms, you have an advantage. And in a game that's supposed to be competitive, especially with the top Imperium, if it was some random D-seed KD, I'm sure some people, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But since it's 1254, and that's one of the biggest KDs in the game, one of the best KDs in the game, people are really, really wow, we're supposed to compete against these guys, and they have an extra week head start with them more than gems to gem out their armaments. It's tough.
Yep. So far, we're all on the same page, Ladus.
I mean, I think Lilith already hates me. I don't get much luck with procs and stuff like that. So 3 procs out of 55 crafts that I did, and then now you have a question that's gonna make it even worse. If anything, Lilith's gonna. If I want to say what I want to say, Lilith's gonna take away the 2 procs that I have. So with that risk in mind, so how I'm gonna put it is, this is shocking, this is embarrassing, this is disgusting what Lilith does, but then in my eyes Lilith are those things already, and that's to do with another thing that they have done, and then people complain about it. There's something else that has been going on for a while, and people complain about it, but then nothing kind of happens. But you guys probably know this already. Korean kingdoms, for example, or not Korean kingdoms, Korean players, how they have a way to store bundles. They don't have to buy it straight away. So for us, how us normal people, non-Korean people, how if you want to buy the Call of the Ancient bundles, for example, you either buy it whilst it's available or it's kind of gone. So Korean people has a way of storing it up and then buying it during, a time when they need gems, for example. Did you guys know about this?
I think I've seen it before, but yeah, I didn't really
Yeah.
compartmentalize
guess-
it like in the head.
My understanding is it has to do with Korean law. There has to be a double. You have to, when you buy something online for a game, you have to then not only buy it, and that's confirmation of your purchase, but it's not physically actually purchased until you open that bundle, and that's your second confirmation then. It has something to do with Korean law. At least this is what I was told. It has something to do with Korean law, and thus the reason, they can stack dozens and dozens of Call of the Ancients in their inventory and just open them when they need them.
Yeah, exactly. So what that does, regardless of how it comes into effect, what that does is, if you want to talk about Zenith, for example. So if you're in a situation where you're in the same continent with 1v, or same continent with 1365, good luck with winning Zenith, regardless whether you're MF or Baba. I guess actually I use the worst examples. MF and Baba can probably still do it, but then say for example, if you're talking about a normal person, they probably can't, because if you decide to go for Zenith on the spot, you just can't, because you have to buy. Even if you buy everything, you probably don't have enough speed ups. But then if you registered your account in Korea, then you can, because you have access to more bundles than everyone else has. And this is just a repeat of that. And 1254, not that I have anything against 1254, but then what it does is, it just, as you guys explained, it just makes it unfair for everyone. I don't know how much of a difference just the 1 week makes, but then the thing is, it's not guaranteed to be 1 week. So it actually could be not everyone else gets it next week. Say for example, I'm in 2489 now, so 2489 may get it even later. I don't know. But then if Lilith was going by the logic that it's coming from the newer kingdoms to the older, then we probably should have gotten it first, because they started with newer kingdoms. So how they're going back and forth, it's like randomly picking, saying, okay, I have favorism and this is who my favorite is, so that's why they get it. That's how I look at it, I guess. And that's when the playing fields are not even in many different ways. So if you're Korean, you get an advantage. If you play in 1254, you get an advantage. And then the other little things that Lilith does, for example, with new commanders coming out and things like that. So I feel like Lilith is being racist to me because I don't speak Vietnamese. Because Vietnamese YouTube has more information that Chizgul then translates in English using Google Lens or something, and the Russian version, and then we get it from Chizgul. But we don't get it from the English YouTube channel or official YouTube from Lilith. So am I being punished for not speaking Vietnamese, or not living in Korea, or not playing in 1254? You gotta be a Korean person who speaks Vietnamese and plays in 1254. Otherwise, Lilith doesn't love you.
That's a broken combo. You're just a Vietnamese living in Korea in TR. Yeah, you're cracked at Rise of Kingdoms now.
Yeah, the closest person I can think that kind of, actually, let's not get there. But anyways, it's just not fair. But then I'm surprised at you guys being surprised, because what did you expect? You're talking about Lilith here. You're not talking about someone that cares about the greater good of the game. We're talking about a company that cares about just making money. That's it. Why have expectations?
Yeah, understandably, I think they probably released it to 254 so that Chizgul could start to create the hype surrounding it, right? And I understand that it's done with marketing in mind instead of the average player in mind, and that just doesn't sit well with me. I'm not terribly surprised that it happened this way, but at the same time, it's the first time in my 4 years playing where they've said, okay, some of you can get this and some of you can't, so
that's what I was wondering. How did they release the equipment system? Because this is practically equipment 2.0. Was it every KD got it at the same time, or?
Yep. Everyone at the same time.
Yep.
So then why didn't they just do the same thing? Because if you guys remember, they adjusted the equipment system halfway through too. And then one thing that I'm kind of confused about is I remember this blue archer staff or whatever. What is it called? It used to be good for infantry, and then like everyone would use it for infantry, and then all of a sudden,
That's changed status, yeah.
yeah, they changed the stats, and then now like I have a crit archer staff for infantry. So it's just like, like I don't know why they just didn't do the same thing they did with equipment, and that's crazy to think about because I complain about equipment all the time, but that they made the system more unfair than more unfair than the equipment system. Like at least it screws over everyone equally. Like this everyone that pays the same amount. Like free to plays, whether you're there this or that, you get screwed over equally. But then for this, it's just like, yeah, you know, if you're in KVK2, you get these better version of, you get practically that infantry staff, and you don't get to change. It doesn't change. And then now like 1254, yeah, you know, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and
The thing is, sorry, I just have to, just based on some of the comments in the chat, I got to say this. This is nothing against 1254. Like, it's not like 1254 said, give it to us. Like, it's not like they're doing anything unfair. I'm talking about Lilith here. And even in terms of equipment coming out in the earlier kingdoms, I think I saw a video from Chizgul or a live stream where his other kingdom, where his old place got it as well first, even before 1254 did, right?
Oh no, his restart kingdom didn't get it, I believe, from what I heard.
I think he had formations there.
Oh really? Interesting.
I could be wrong, but I think I switched on one of the streams where I kind of saw it. But anyways, I mean, the thing is, like, I'm glad that out of all people, Chizgul got it, because at least he makes videos about it and we get to see it. So again, nothing against Chizgul, but it's to do with how Lilith kind of makes their calls quite distinct, saying we don't love you.
right.
You know? Every which category I look at it, Ladus, we don't love you. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us is knocking Chizgul. I don't think any of us is knocking 254. We're knocking Lilith and the process they followed to implement this
It's
release.
just so arbitrary, like
Yep.
in my opinion. It's just so random. Like, okay, well, these kingdoms get it, those kingdoms don't. Some kingdoms, I believe, like some kingdoms in off season got it, and then other kingdoms in off season didn't. Like, it's just bleh.
It doesn't make a lot of
No
sense.
explanation.
There's no method to the madness. There's no transparency. You know, one of the viewers in chat had said, as far as the bundles go in Korea, you still get the same amount of stuff. So if I max buy Call of the Ancients, I'm still getting the same stuff that a Korean player is. It's just all of mine appears in my inventory before I open the bag. You know, so people do have the opportunity to save that for Zenith. It's up to them whether they do or don't.
Can I add something to that? With a Korean problem there, that they have an extra chest or item or whatever in their inventory, and they can choose whenever they want to open it. I mean, the normal shop bundles will not make a difference on that. They don't get something more of that if they buy and not open it. Like you said it, like right? They have the same amount of gems, the same amount of sweethearts and all that stuff. I think my problem with that here is with pop-up bundles, like the amount, not like all the pop-up bundles, right? Which have just a amount of time. Never mind. It's the same. Like, no, wait. Sorry, that was wrong. Like, I don't see where the problem there is. Overall, like, they don't get something extra. Like, they have just their chest and they can choose whenever they want to open it, but they don't get something extra, right? Like, it don't give them any benefit out of it to save these and then open it later. Or do I get something wrong here?
Well, I think the difference is, you know, they can buy, you know, say Call of the Ancients every other week for 2 months. And then if they're competing in a Zenith, they can open them one at a time. And they can continue to save them for later. And if they don't open it, they can get a refund for it.
That's the problem. Okay. Okay. So it's a double okay. Yeah.
Right. So,
Okay.
they can buy a whole ton of shit and max their entire credit card out, or max 2 or 3 credit cards out, open what they need, and say, okay, I don't need these to win this Zenith, so I'm just going to get a refund for these.
Yes,
So it's
and
like-
then if we do that, then Lilith claims my account back. If I do a refund, if I say that, well, I bought this gold chest, I don't want it anymore because I have no hope of winning Zenith now. If I want a refund, my account gets taken back by Lilith, but the Korean guy's account doesn't get taken back by Lilith because that's
Just
the
get
country's
the chest
law.
taken back. Yeah.
That's
got
just
it.
gets the chest taken back. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Okay, yeah, I got it.
I mean,
That's pretty
that's the drawback. Unfortunately, I think that's due to how the Korean laws operate, and that's why the Koreans took so long to start getting into this game and start being powerhouses in this game, is because they'll have had to develop some alternate procedure for players in Korea now.
All right,
You know,
so we're
could-
starting
could-
a gamer house in Korea.
Yeah.
Could we all switch our VPN to a Seoul location and possibly do the same thing? I don't know. I haven't tried.
I think we can.
Or maybe
With
Brazil.
VPN,
Apparently,
yeah.
gold chests are way
That's-
cheaper there. So, anyways,
VPN could be possible actually.
And there's this other thing that I saw on Flash's stream once where he had this thing called Samsung Pass or something, or not Samsung.
I
Samsung,
know Huawei there.
Huawei
Yeah.
Pass or something like that. And then you get, basically you buy the same shit for half the price and it's
Yeah.
legal.
Yeah, it's
Anyways,
like
that's it.
it's like here the same, right? With dollar, I get a gold chest for 110, and here in Europe, other way. In dollars, I have 100, and here in Europe, I have 110, right? So it's have something to do with all the laws and taxes and all that stuff. But yeah, it's really unfair. They should make it like even, like somehow even. Like it cannot be in the game that like people get the half of a price for the same amount of items. That is, like, first of all, so unfair. Even because you have the money difference, right? You have already the money difference, like that people who have the money can buy like unlimited gems. They can buy every bundle. They have so much resources, so much speed ups, and a free-to-play or low spender will never be able to get that stuff like in 10 years or 20 years of playing the game, right? And then you have, when the other side, you have when people who get it for the half of a price, like, I don't know, I don't get it. It's just
So,
unlucky and
guys,
unfair.
you know who doesn't have to worry about it? It's 12-inch in chat. Doesn't have to worry about any of this. None of this bothers him. He's the smart guy. Like, why make Lilith happy and take headache? Just don't spend anything. Still enjoy the game.
Yeah.
So and if any of our assumptions or our discussion is incorrect, and there are Korean players in the chat or watching this at a later time, please drop a comment and let us know exactly how it works from your perspective, right? Because we don't buy these, we don't see these bags, we don't see these chests that you can open or potentially refund. So our understanding is all from watching other people's streams and from hearsay and from what other people have told us. So, please, if we're stating something incorrectly, absolutely positively, correct us, right? So I think the moral of the story from this this discussion that started off about armaments is that Lilith doesn't really give a shit about the players in the game other than those that spend money, and they're more about their bottom line profit than anything else. I don't know how we change that as a community moving forward, or if it's something that we can even change. But maybe thoughts for our next podcast, our next discussion. That said, that concludes our agenda. I did want to take a few moments and kind of go around the table and have Ploto, Ladus, and Beast all let you know what they're working on for their streams if they've got anything coming up. And I will, while they do that, I will drop their links in the chat once again, so you can go there and subscribe to them if you are not subscribed already. Speaking of subscriptions, I would greatly appreciate your subscription as well. We are slowly inching our way toward that 1,000 subscriber mark. So please like and subscribe. It is 100% free for you, and it helps me out greatly. That said, we'll flip it over to Ploto so he can let us know what he's working on.
Yeah, I guess I just finished up a streamathon, where I was streaming every day for a week or 5 days. But upcoming, we do have our KVK going on, so I've been chaining a ton. Probably still be chaining. I'll probably still be chaining. Have some chaining streams. I'll also probably have some Olympia streams, and I'm actually streaming at 11 a.m. today for Bulba's Fall Guys tournament, so that should be pretty fun. Never played Fall Guys. I haven't played Fall Guys in like a while, but we'll try to make do. And yeah, within the next couple of weeks, we have our KVK Pass opening, all that kind of stuff, so just feel free to pop in.
Cool. And you had mentioned something earlier about a bi-weekly series.
Oh yeah.
Farmer.
Yeah, I've started doing account reviews for funsies. People have been asking me to do like an account review stream, and it did really well. So we're probably gonna make that into a series. That's gonna be within a week and a half. I don't have the specific dates set yet, but I do have some pretty interesting guests for that series, so should be fun.
Sounds interesting. Ladus, you're up.
Hey, man. So a couple KVKs coming up, and it's the 1365 KVK. So 1365 is going to be registering in the next POC. So will 2489. This is the two kingdoms where my accounts are. So rather than like, I'm hoping it'll be two KVKs where I'll be fighting and streaming. But if Lilith hates me, which Lilith does, it will probably be one KVK with both of my accounts in opposing sides. So it's going to be interesting, me feeding me kills both ways. So that's what's coming up. And I'm looking forward to a chain off with Ploto, because Ploto loves chaining. I love chaining. So, I'm going to save my biggest chain report and then see whether I can get to Ploto level. So lots of KVK streaming coming.
You can bet some gifted subs on who gets the biggest chain.
Yeah, we should do something like that. Yeah.
So if Beast is going to do a chaining stream too, do we need to do a friendly competition here so you can stream the most?
Oh no, I will not do that. I give up chaining. I have tried it with KVK in Zone 4. I was like sitting there for 1 or 2 hours, and I was like, nah, I can't do that like for 8 hours. I have a lot of respect to these players who can do that for like 8 hours or more. But I cannot. I just kill them with 5 marches and that's it. I don't care. Yeah.
Well, it's not just the fact that they're chaining. It's they're holding multiple discussions from chat while they are chaining. It's hard enough for me to chain than to try and chain with 2 marches or 3 marches and pay attention to chat and keep everyone entertained. I'm too fucking old for that shit. But
that was also my problem when I was doing at the beginning in Zone 4 the opening stream for the KVK, and I was like chaining. I missed so many times the barbarian because I was talking with the chat. Like, no, it's no.
Yeah. It's a skill. It's a skill.
Okay, yeah. No, then I don't want to say.
I feel
So what do you got coming up on your channel there, Beast?
So since I have still my KVK for 26 days to go, there will be stuff coming up, especially that next week the Pass 7 opens. So we have Zone 6-5 then. We are gonna stream a lot again. Where for the next months, I cannot say directly what will coming up or not, since I will have some private stuff to work on, since I'm gonna change my apartment and all that stuff, and that takes a lot of time. But what I said already, but I want to change my streaming area a little bit. What you guys can see in the background on my webcam and all that. I have some plans there, and yeah, that's it for now. Actually, I cannot say more.
Okay. And as far as me, I'm just going to keep grinding, trying to put out live content every other day at a minimum, maybe produce 1 or 2 videos a week. I'm not much for editing, so I do not like to edit videos, but we'll see. We'll see. As far as content goes, we had an open mic night yesterday that was quite fun. Had several people jump on Discord and just shoot the shit, talk about, whatever came to mind. So I'm probably going to do that a little bit more often, maybe like a Monday open mic night and Fall Guys Friday or some shit like that. But we'll see. I got some things in the works. I think after our KVK ends, I won't necessarily be taking a break from the game itself, but won't be playing it nearly as much for a couple of weeks. Maybe play some Red Dead Redemption 2 or some Dying Light, just to kind of get out of the... I close my eyes at night and I see resource nodes and flags burning. So, I just need a little bit of downtime from the game. Need to play something else for a little while. So, maybe we'll stream that, see how much interest there is there, and just have some fun.
You gotta play with an accent, right? You gotta.
Yeehaw!
An accent.
Howdy.
There you go.
Yeah, well, maybe find some voice modification software or something, right? But, that's about it. You guys have anything else before we wrap it up for the day?
Ladus, go.
No, all good. Looking forward to fighting myself. 1365 versus 1254, both me. So yeah, that's the nightmare coming my way.
Did I miss Ladus? I'm sorry.
Sorry?
My apologies. It has been a pleasure to host you guys here. I think the next one of these we do, it will be Ploto's turn to host on his channel. So date and time and agenda yet to be determined. So stay tuned to our 4 channels to get more info on when we do this again. If there are specific things that anyone from chat would like to see us cover, topics that you want us to talk about, please let us know. We're more than happy to cover any topics that are out there that you guys want us to talk about. We try and hit on the hot topics of the day and go from there. So, been fun today, guys. Thanks for jumping on. I'm going to mute the Discord to the live stream and wrap it up real quick and be right back with you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Press that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Costs you nothing. Really appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.